So over the 40 odd years that you've had an involvement with the trust, what have been the sort of main highlights?
Oh, the biggest was the new building by far. Centre has been through a number of stages to do with obviously finances and personnel, but it's still a thoroughly enjoyable place to visit. I've been responsible for some of the expansion. When Carl Reevy was chairman, somebody advertised this very large aquarium, and I think he wanted £100, and we found that and brought it in and made that a saltwater aquarium, with the fire brigade kindly emptying it and loading it again in the spring. And then, yes, we had another aquarium for a lobster. Gradually, things grew up. I remember sometime in the 90s, early 2000s, I was with family at Windermere, and they had a touch tank, and it was what inspired me to have the one in the laboratory made. The one I saw was very rustic and held up by wooden battens and things, but Gus Newman made the present one we've got out of fiberglass, that being his expertise, and that has been a huge success. Sometimes difficult to keep going, sometimes you put a lot of things in and they disappear, but to have children dabbling their fingers in that, perhaps being nipped by baby crabs and things, is a real revelation.
I agree. Yes, my grandchildren and my children and my grandchildren have all loved that, the touch tanks. And what do you like to see the sort of History Trust and the Centre doing over the next 4 or 5 years in this sort of future? I mean, can you see it changing or see it developing?
I've not really given that much thought, but I really do like the program of events that go on, which started when I was heavily involved. But for example, Becky Williamson, who was very keen walker and started what we used to call natural history walks and turned into natural history rambles, because rambling was more the speed at which we moved if we went out to a shore site or a seaweed site. And obviously more things happening in the centre. I see you're shortly going to have a music evening, which I think is a new innovation as far as I'm concerned. And the pattern of talks, which I started years ago, nabbing visiting ornithologists or naturalists who I thought could give us a talk. And that has continued and expanded and is now a real feature of what the island has to offer.